Hello and welcome to GPTV on Easter Tuesday, the 18th of April. My name is Philip Kingston.
And I'm Gary Peer.
And Gary, I don't know whether you've noticed, but there is somebody sitting between us, which is rather unusual because we're not normally a threesome. What is going on?
I thought you said no one would ever come between us, Philip.
Well, if anybody's going to come between us, Gary, I don't mind it being this person.
Yes.
Who is this person?
Jenny Coy, the manager of our property management department and all-round real estate guru with all things property management.
Stop saying manager. What about Jenny Coy, head of property management department?
What would you prefer being called?
Oh, I love what Phil said. Head of property management.
That's why they pay me the big bucks.
Is that right?
Easter Tuesday, Jenny. It's good to have you here on Easter Tuesday. Did you have some Easter eggs?
I sure did. It was lovely.
So I've got to tell you, I am completely partial. I know this is going to sound like an advertisement, but the Lint Gold Easter Bunny. Like I reckon I've killed about 1,000 Lint Easter bunnies.
No, you've got to get those Cadbury with the caramel, those Easter eggs. They are the number one.
How good?
Give you a couple more cheers.
How good's this time of year? It's just like chocolate.
Exactly right.
Chocolate.
Fantastic.
Life is better when there's chocolate.
Now, Phil, it's an extraordinary edition because we've, of course, had no auctions last weekend. We've got no auctions coming up this weekend.
You know, I reckon we'll get a call from the bank manager next week.
Absolutely. They'll be calling in the debts.
And let's face it, there's a lot of those.
There are a lot of those. So how about that? So we thought it's a great opportunity to have Jenny, the head and leader of our property management division, to talk a little bit about investment property, and we have got this property to review, Philip, which we're going to do because we are in a outstanding property. So that tradition doesn't stop, but it's all about property management.
It's kind of interesting timing though, if you think about it, because sales is an exciting part of our business.
Of course it is.
But you never know whether next month's going to be good, bad or indifferent.
Yes.
But the property management division, Gary, is the cash flow or the engine, Jenny. It's the engine of the real estate industry. And without you, Jenny, we'd be nobody.
Exactly right.
Oh.
So let's talk. Don't use that at your next pay review. Right. You don't quote that back. Don't come in and say, "I just want to show you GPTV."
I'd like an extra $150,000 because you said it on camera. 400 people saw it. So let's talk a bit about property management. Let's get into the nitty gritty. Firstly, because a lot of viewers are, of course, buyers of properties, there's all sorts of bizarre viewing people here, isn't there, Philip? Strange and wonderful and unusual and unique people.
Wrong with your face?
Yeah, well, you know what's going on with my face.
Okay,
So
viewers,
it's not good.
A quick update. Gary, that little thing on his face, because we're always trying to make sure viewers, you're looking after your skin. But Gary's little biopsy the other day has come back with rather bad news.
It has, unfortunately.
It's a basal carcinoma, which thank goodness you're on it, but it's not good.
No, it's not great.
And I've got to tell you, you may never see that side of his face.
Right. No, I'll be sitting on that side from now on because there's going to be some ugly things happening.
Viewers, get your skin checked.
Yes.
This is the harshest country for skin cancer.
It is.
And you can never be too careful.
Yeah. Well, thanks for keeping that so subtly discreet because I really wanted it all talked about, didn't I, Phil? Let's get back to you, Jen, before you waffle. So we've got viewers that are, of course, a big range of different people, but a lot of people, of course, love property. They love property, they love buying real estate, they love investing.
The show,
well, they don't love us, they love real estate and our message about real estate. So let's talk about if you what's renting well? What's going well out there?
Definitely 1 and 2 bedroom apartments.
Okay.
Absolutely. Flying. 3 bedroom apartments as well.
Yep.
But more so the 1 and 2 bedroom properties.
And yet, you know, there's been people that's out there like anybody, like ourselves. You drive the street, you see another block being built there, block being built here, block being built there.
Yep.
Is that not scaring us or you that we're not going to be able to get all these places rented out?
No,
there's hundreds, there's thousands.
There's hundreds of thousands of people looking for properties. So,
Let me jump in here because there's been a lot talked about the oversupply of apartments in Melbourne.
That's it.
And yet, if I look back, say, 10 years ago, we used to, and correct me if I'm wrong, unlikely that I will be, but 10 years ago, our vacancy rate used to be 3 to 4%.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
That is correct.
What is it today?
It's 0.02%.
So hang on a second.
Large
There's a
statistic
talk
from this morning.
It's a fifth of 1%.
We're talking about an oversupply, supposedly, of apartments, and yet we manage now in excess of around 2,500 properties. So we're a big property management department, and yet we're less than 1%.
That's correct.
And we're less than what we were 10 years ago, and yet theoretically, in the last 10 years, there's been, well, not theoretically, actually, tens of thousands of new apartments.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
So what's going on there?
Okay, so firstly, with the new apartments, there's lots of people out there looking for modern apartments. So where people actually essentially struggle to lease a 2-bedroom apartment is more so along the lines of those that are a bit dated or a little bit quirky. But with the new stuff, it is actually, as long as it's priced right and it's achievable, absolutely, we'll get people through this. Yeah,
so I guess the message to those owners that have got those 60s buildings and 70s buildings,
update.
They have to update.
They have to, yeah.
Speaking of that, I'm obviously, thankfully for you, I have very little to do with your department.
Thank you. There's a reason it runs well.
But I do see the daily lettings, and I see the new business coming in, and I see the daily lettings. And one of the things that I am noticing is a significant jump in rental when somebody with a tired old apartment does spend the money on renovating the kitchens and the bathrooms and bringing it up to speed.
Absolutely.
Now, one of the things we do know is that a new kitchen and a new bathroom, you get about 20 years out of that. So the question I have for you, is it a good thing for somebody to give their old apartment a complete overhaul?
Yes.
Do they get a return on their money?
Yes, they generally do, as long as they're not going outlandish with the actual appliances or what they're putting in, as long as they're putting in the basics that people are after, so dishwashers, new ovens, new kitchen, benches, etc. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So now, am I right? Sorry, Gary. Am I right in saying that a full renovation does give you another 20 years of good life out of the property?
Definitely.
Yeah. So if you look at 20 years of better rent, you probably get a better tenant now that it's fresher, and then the depreciation on all of the things that you've done. Is it a worthwhile thing to do?
And it's a worthwhile exercise.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, and that was an interesting point you made.
Oh, well, without doubt, Gary.
Well, it's probably you should just quit right now while you're ahead. But if we have, let's say, we've got 0.25% of our properties vacant, or 50%. Why are we renting stuff out so quickly when other stuff is vacant elsewhere? What, is it because of our properties? Is it because of our processes? What are we doing there?
Is the point also you're making, Gary, that and you'd know Jenny better
What's
than we
industry
would,
average?
but are we well below the industry average of vacancy?
We are indeed. Metropolitan Melbourne is actually 2.3%.
Wow.
So, and we're under 1%.
So we're under
that
1%. Wow.
Correct.
Well done to you, Jenny.
Thank you, Philip. Thank you.
Just like a high five. But tell us why. Tell the viewers why. Fascinating to know.
Well, it certainly comes down to when we actually start seeking or sourcing a tenant as such. So we have, when the tenant gives notice, we're actually straight in contact with our clients, advising them to get the property up and running as quickly as possible. Then we have what is called a concierge service, which is it's a little bit different to a standard leasing consultant as such.
But we have both, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep. So it's
so what does a concierge mean and do?
Okay, so it's an area that we're, I suppose, heavily resourced in. I wish, no.
Yeah, taking the show.
No,
But dinner at the Flower Drum on a Thursday night?
Inside table or outside table? Go on. Yes.
They are a live person that somebody in the rental market could be looking for a property, and you'll find that they'll be ringing agent to agent and they're getting deflected back to the internet. And basically what happens in that scenario, when you call our office, you actually put through to a concierge and they will actually ask you your requirements, and then they'll look at the stock that we've got available or what's coming up, and then match you up with that property.
It's interesting. I'm going to make the comment here because if there's any frustration you hear in the marketplace, it's always tenants slamming real estate agencies for lack of service. And the comment I hear is that you ring a property management department and they'll just say, go on to realestate.com, go on to domain.com and have a look at it.
Or go to our website.
And when you've found it, then put in an application. So we are actually engaging in old-fashioned service, aren't
we? We actually...
That was the concept, wasn't it, Jim?
It was.
And the reality is that we just got sick of that. It's crazy, you know. Sometimes you I guess go forward and you progress, but really you go backwards in other ways. You know, you become automated, and then you sort of think, well, hang on, aren't we a service industry? Aren't we supposed to be talking to people? So I've had a lot of great feedback on this, and you know, we've sort of started the tenant revolution, I could say, because as you say, rightly say, you know, for tenants and prospective tenants, they are often seen to be the poor relative of the real estate market. And why shouldn't they be serviced? Why shouldn't they be looked after? And in fact, most of our landlords love the fact that the tenants are being looked after. They don't see it as a conflict
No,
when you look
not
after
at all.
tenants, they see it as your tenants are being treated with respect, so they're more likely to be better tenants, and treat their properties better as well. So someone can actually ring up, have a person go and meet them, actually talk to them, not be on a phone system or just to say go and look at our website. And I reckon that's contributing to a lot of our rentals, and it sounds like from you that's one of the reasons.
Definitely. I attended an open for inspection last night and actually spoke to somebody who, whilst they'd registered to come and have a look at the property and the concierge had let them know, they said, look, this isn't for us. And then I said, well, the concierge will be back in contact tomorrow. So she's on to them, trying to match them up with another property.
So does she keep a database of people as well?
She does,
So a new incoming property can be matched straight away with the database and let straight away?
Straight away, yeah.
Let me ask you another question statistically. You and I spoke a little bit about a lot of properties being let before they're even vacant.
Correct.
So how many we must let out, 40, 50 properties a month, sometimes more.
Sometimes more, yeah.
So how many of those properties would get let with zero vacancy?
From our recent figures, the end of March figures, 58% of the properties.
Hang on a second. 58% of our properties were leased with 0 days
On market,
So 1 in 2, that is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's very good.
And the other 42%, what was the average days on market for those 42%?
7 days.
Okay.
So if you have a property investment and you're on board with Gary Peer & Associates, obviously this is the commercial now.
Don't worry, the viewers are probably switched off now and they're following up. So they know where this is
The
going.
commercial is that if you're with another agent and your average days on market without rent is more than 7 days, you should be ringing us straight away. There's the commercial. But that's an amazing thing to think that worst case scenario on average 7 days, but you've got a 52% chance that you will not lose a day's rent.
58%.
That is unbelievable.
That's very strong.
And if you think in terms of combine that with one of our lowest vacancy rates ever, that's a huge thing, because I know a lot of the investors that we have, Gary, everybody thinks, you've got to be rich to be a property owner. Well, I mean, I think that when I look at the cross-section of our landlords, we've got a lot of people that are just working on a wage that have bought a property investment as their means of retiring in the future. So these are not wealthy people. No. And being without your rent for a week or two, I mean, that's a pretty phenomenal... That can really hurt.
No question
that's an amazing thing. Well done.
So let's go back to adding some value out of our commercials out of the way. Let's go back to adding some value to our clients. Although I think it's
the point
is a good point, because it really does... It has meaning. It's tangible. It's not just waffle. It's tangible.
Having said that, if your property is currently listed with another agent and you're thinking about changing, call Jenny on 9526 1988. That's 9526 1988, and the first 10 people to call in will get steak knives and a salad bowl.
There you go. And you can flash that number up on the screen, make it real infomercial. Like a direct line is 9526 1918, because I never leave her in peace very long, do I, Jen? So I know that off by heart.
Just put that out there.
Yeah, that's fine.
Right, that's okay. Her home number, by the way, and address if you want to go around for tea. Let's talk also just a little bit about, so if someone's out there looking at investment, you're working out, do I buy something like a flat, or do I buy a house in the outer suburbs somewhere?
It's not a flat anymore, Gary.
It's an apartment. Yes, Philip, I know.
Do you think you go to Paris and rent a flat? You rent an apartment.
I don't do I? Stay in a hotel. So, Jenny, if somebody's looking for an investment, we've done the commercial now about our services. Thanks, Philip. Let's talk about what that checklist of things would be. If there had to be 5 things that you're looking for, what would be the first thing?
Definitely an apartment with, I suppose, an open space.
Okay, good living
area.
Let's make that number 1.
Yeah. Balcony or courtyard.
Outside area if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2. I suppose a modern sort of kitchen with the people are looking for dishwashers. They're also looking, sort of the amenities that are inside.
So is dishwasher a big one now?
It is, it's huge,
Number 3, what about air conditioning?
Air conditioning and heating, massive.
Number 4. And if we had to have a 5th one, what else would it be in terms of?
Car park, ideally. And when I say a car park, as opposed to a car stacker, but either or.
If you're South African, it's a POC. Go on, yes.
Just talk about the stackers. I
Yeah.
mean, stackers are a thing of they used to be a thing of the future, now they're a thing of the present.
Yes, they
and
are.
in 10 years' time, it's going to be all stackers. How resistant are tenants to stackers?
I think it actually comes down to the type of car you drive.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of apartment complexes now where we have seen the rise in the stacker.
Yeah.
And as long as the tenants have their induction and go through it, they seem to be fine.
Yes.
But it certainly is, a lot of people will ask, particularly, is it a stacker or is it a car space?
Yeah.
And we're actually finding that they tend to lean towards the car space just because they're unfamiliar with the stacker.
Sure.
So-
What about location? I often find that being walking distance to shops and public transport is a huge thing.
Is that a big
it as
deal?
big as I think it is?
Yes, it is. It is a big deal, particularly sort of more boutique sort of coffee strips, and people love now. We're obviously a society of going out for breakfast and coffee and all of those things, and so people do like to be close to sort of coffee shops or local amenities.
Yeah. Okay.
And block size matters?
It does. In saying that, we had quite a lot of success with a block where there was sort of quite a living community associated with it, and part of the attraction to that, Phil, was actually there is going to be a supermarket built there, and so it's quite a futuristic village. It does. I mean, I suppose we're sort of seeing smaller blocks come in, sort of 10 to 12 apartments, and people are attracted to that. But yeah, we have had some success with those.
Fantastic, good to know. Now, I just want to deviate away from that for a second and talk about, is deviate the right word, or deviant? Because I'm looking at you, I'm thinking the words are closely associated. I'm going to move away from that for a second.
You can deviate away from a deviant.
Exactly right. Talk about some of our people in our team. I've got to talk, we wouldn't be doing justice to talking about property management if we didn't talk about Harry Lustig.
Oh, of course.
So we'll put a photo of him up there. Let's just have a chat about Harry. How long's Harry been with us for now?
Harry's been with us for in excess of 25 years.
It's incredible. One of our first people. He is probably, outside of myself, our longest serving continuous team member. And he's just an icon of real estate, isn't he? I mean,
rock.
He's
Absolutely.
a rock. He's a rock. And he just, I guess, is a great representation of what a great property manager should be and is. But we also tend, so thank you, Harry, because we love you. You are an awesome guy. And
he's a real mentor. Do you find he's a real mentor for a lot of the younger people that are coming up?
Absolutely, for the people within the team. And also Harry will... He's got a lot of industry people that will call him and rely on him. So
and even he consults to like consumer affairs. And he speaks to people like that as well. He's quite an authority, much like yourself, because you're on different boards and also or constantly on the talking circuit and being quoted in the paper as well. But what I also want to talk about is the fact that we tend to keep people as property managers for a while, but that's not really the way it is in real estate. So how are we doing that well, and why do people leave real estate as property managers? It's the hardest people to get are property managers, by the way.
So the average in property management is a 9-month tenure, they say.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. 9 months. And we've been fortunate enough to, even if we take Harry out of the equation, our people have been with us for, on average, between 3 to 4 years.
Okay.
We've actually, it's quite interesting. I know.
Do you think it's got a lot to do with my charisma?
Of course it does. As Gary mentioned earlier,
Phil has got a lot to do with your charisma, and the fact that you don't have anything to do with property management. The fact that your charisma is out of it keeps them there longer. Go on.
All right.
I know that you've spoken in the past about the 10-year club, and it's actually fantastic. I've got one of my senior people who's just joined the 10-year club this year, Christina Trappler.
She's awesome.
Shout out to Christina, who is awesome.
She's amazing. And then we sort of roll into the 8s and the 7-year veterans, and so we've got Vanessa McGlynn, who's been with us for 8 years, and then it sort of goes into this bunch of 3 to 4 year people.
So even our newbies are 3 to 4 years,
that's right.
which is 6, 7, 8 times the industry average.
If we fast forward 2 or 3 years, I think our average tenure will be even longer.
Yeah,
they don't tend. Well, they certainly don't leave to go to other companies. That's really rare. But sometimes though their life change, situation will change. But why do they burn out, property managers in other companies? Why in the industry do they burn out? What is difficult about being a property manager?
I think you've got to wear so many hats. You do have to be. You've got to be a mentor. You've got to also be a mediator. you're the meat in the sandwich when there is a conflict, and I think it's just a matter of some people don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to keep themselves fresh. They don't actually know how to deal with conflict, and I think that's probably one of the things that we educate our people. We send them to a lot of training courses. We deal with the consumer affairs, those type of people. We actually really invest in our people, and that's why our people tend to have the benefit of staying around.
Stick around. And for landlords, they love it, because landlords, nothing worse. You own a property and you've got John caring to and Mary next day, they've got Dave over here, and then that person's gone, and there's nothing worse. There's no continuity.
The continuity is
it's a big complaint in the industry where the turnover of my property manager, the landlord's not getting to know a property manager before they're gone. Yeah,
absolutely.
Jenny, I don't want to take up too much of your time because you've got a business to run, of course. But just in summary, I just want to thank you for coming on board. We should talk a little bit about this property, Philip, because here we are at Evoke. Do you mind sticking around?
I'm happy to stick around.
Would you like to rent this one out?
I love this house.
just out of interest, I mean, what is a big, luxurious four-bedroom, four-bathroom home lease for?
Anywhere sort of between 1,800 sort of to 2.5.
Right.
It's sort of, it really is within that bracket.
How do we go with those? How can we get them let really quickly too?
Again, it comes down to our concierge service and dealing with relocation agents. We've actually got some great affiliations with some of our relocation companies who have, expats coming in and, executives. And, they tend to come through and...
So let's talk about this property. Here we are in Avoca Grove, which is a tiny, tiny little street.
Lovely tree-lined avenue, Phil. It's not a street.
Off Orong Road.
Any more than an apartment is a flat.
Well, okay, let's go with Grove, but Avoca Grove, near the intersection of Orong Road
and Avoca Street.
No, it's Avoca Grove. Near the intersection of Orong Road and Glenara Road. Beautiful, beautiful house. This is a builder's own property. So this was not done for speculation. It was done for him and his family.
Have you done the video tour?
I have, Gary.
Rolling over while we're talking about it?
Possibly rolling over, but I've got to tell you, he's put his heart and soul into this home. It is the most magnificent home. Bedrooms with ensuite bathrooms, the main bedrooms like checking into the suite of a luxury hotel. The entertaining areas are enormous and yet have a great sense of intimacy. One of my favourite features is the alfresco undercover area, and Gary, you should be making use of your alfresco undercover area, enjoying the warmth but staying out of the sun. Swimming pool here, garden that gets flooded by sunlight because it's got a western northern orientation. I'm excited to auction this property, and you'd be excited, viewers, to live here.
And you'd want to buy this one, Philip, because this is a beauty, and we look forward to bring this one to the market. The auction details are on screen, and I think Sally Zellman and her team, and Sally and Darren and Judy and Adam and Daniel, they're all involved with it, so call any of our team. They'll be absolutely delighted to help you. Look, we've got no auctions to review. We've had a few sales, some really good ones, but we're not going to go through and talk about that because it's all about property management.
This is a property management investment special. Jenny, great to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We must do it more often because we've got so much exciting news coming out of your department. So viewers, stay tuned for more exciting news from our property management. I'm Philip Kingston. Have a fabulous week.
I'm Gary Peer, and this is
Jenny Coy.
Thanks for being on the show.
Thank you.
See you next week with some big real estate sale news. Bye.